Hi everyone, it's Jolene Breedlove, and today I'll be talking about the final oral exam for our Multicultural Gifted and Talented Education course. The first thing that I'll discuss is meeting multicultural gifted education objectives. The first objective that I think I've been able to meet through this course is to be able to recognize prejudice and oppressive institutional structures in education that marginalize gifted students from culturally diverse backgrounds, specifically race, class, gender, and language issues. So I feel like I've grown a lot in this area and learned so much throughout the course. The first thing that I think really hit home with me is recognizing how much of a problem teacher referrals are. Um, that's honestly where it all starts. If teachers are not referring our culturally and racially diverse students for assessments and identification, they're never going to get placed in gifted programs. So, recognizing that and finding ways to change that and to correct that and get that going into the right direction, with teacher trainings, showing them the different characteristics, behavioral traits, just all the different things that we've talked about in our course to help them understand that our culturally diverse students are often not going to look like the straight A, sit in their seat, raise their hand, ask all the questions, get everything perfectly right student. Along with that comes the assessments that these students are given once they are referred. So the standardized test assessments that we normally give, we've learned that the language in them is white, Euro, European background, all that kind of stuff. And our students that are racially and culturally diverse, they may not understand that. There's a lot of linguistic biases that I found really interesting. I kind of had looked into that and done a little bit of research, but I think that I have a better grasp of what that actually means. When our students are not understanding what a test question is asking, or maybe the test giver is not understanding what the student is giving back to them. And so there's just those biases that are created because of the differences in language backgrounds. And that's something that we need to correct and can easily, maybe not easily, but a step in the right direction is using products and performance-based things and projects and portfolios and those types of things that take away those linguistic biases and encourage us to see the potential that these students have through what they are actually doing, not simply a standardized test. Something else that I learned and I think that I'll put to use in the next coming months is the equity formula. I think that is huge in helping people really see. We can say all day, oh, there's underrepresentation in this group and that group, but when we can actually look at the numbers and show them through this equity formula and show them that, hey, this group is not being represented correctly. There's an overrepresentation of whites and there's an overrepresentation of Asians in our gifted programs, but look at our Hispanics, our Latinos, our African American students. They're severely underrepresented. I think when we can show, you can use that and show in black and white, it can really, really hit home. Another area is in curriculum. Now, I right now don't have a lot of say in what curriculum I get to use, but I do have a lot of say in what I personally can infuse into the curriculum I'm given. So with math, which is what I teach, it's kind of a little bit more difficult, in my opinion, maybe not, but than say reading or language arts but when I am dealing with project-based learning and word problems, I can make sure that I am using names or topics or something, those types of things that my students can relate to. This year I'll be teaching in a school that's 86 or 87, something like that, percent Hispanic. So when I am creating our project-based learning things and different types of word problems, I can be sure to infuse and learn things from their culture and put that into our word problems or into our project-based learning. If we create a store or if we create a business, allowing them to show their culture through what they do, I think is really important. So the second objective that I think that I've learned a lot about and will be able to meet is to demonstrate cultural competence in working with gifted students from diverse backgrounds. So I'm going to tell a quick little story about something that kind of a little embarrassed about that happened last year in my classroom, but it was because I was not thinking and was not paying attention to the cultural differences, honestly. So I was working on a 3D model of an escape room with my 6th grade math students last year. And I was in a school that was predominantly African American. I think in this particular class I had one white student and the rest identified as African American. So we were talking about the escape room, and I had quite a few who did not understand or had not heard of an escape room. That should have been my first, light bulb moment that, hey, I need to stop, take a second, and really think about what I'm doing. The students come from low-income families, and this is those escape rooms that people go to and have fun. They cost a lot of money, so my students didn't really have that opportunity very often. So because they didn't understand what it was at first, I just quickly went on YouTube and Googled and found a video of an escape room. I didn't watch it first, I didn't think about it, and as we were watching it, all of the people in the video were white kids. And as we're watching it, I kind of was like, oh my goodness. And my students recognized that, and they called me out, they called the video out, and I was like, you know what, you guys, you're right. I made a mistake. This is not the right thing. I should have watched it. We should have been able to represent a more diverse population when I was showing you what this was. And I apologized to them, and we had a little bit of a conversation. And so I think through the course, I have really learned to make sure that I am thinking about what is going on in my classroom and what I'm offering to my students, making sure that diverse groups are represented in anything that we do. If I'm using posters, it's not all white kids or all Asian kids. There's a diverse group represented. When I place books in my classroom, make sure that I'm offering authors from different cultures, from different races, different genders, all of that kind of thing, to create that inclusive setting so that my students feel comfortable in my classroom. I also think that it's important to make sure that my students are, we come into the classroom with open minds, and we're not closed-minded, and we can talk to one another and understand our differences and work together through our differences and learn from each other from the different experiences and the backgrounds that we all come from. We all have something special to give, and creating an environment where my students feel free to show what they have to offer. Maybe they don't have the coolest shoes or the newest phone or whatever, but they have something special to offer. And it's really important to me that I can work towards creating that setting and that feeling in my classroom with like I said before, the decor in my classroom, the attitude that's in my classroom, the providing different materials from multiple cultures. The second topic that we have is would be my future plans for multicultural, gifted, and talented education. So one thing that I wanted to talk about is my personal growth in the area of deficit thinking. I wrote about this in one of the discussion posts. I think that it was session 14, but I'm not sure. When we were watching the video of Dr. Fraser, I guess not video, but the speech, the class that Dr. Fraser gave, they said something about deficit thinking and how when we're working with racially, our socioeconomically diverse students, that we have to make sure we're not getting into deficit thinking. And that really hit home for me. I'm a super empathetic person, and I really feel deeply when my students come and tell me that they haven't eaten since yesterday at lunch, or, their dad got put in jail last night, or their uncle was shot last night. And so without realizing it, excusing bad behavior or excusing, lack of homework or participation in class because of those reasons is not helping them. It's not doing anything for them, and it's encouraging that deficit thinking. So I've really thought about ways that I can change that and what I can do to make sure that I don't fall into that again this year, because I'm going to be dealing with similar students going through similar issues. So I've thought about creating homework, lunch bunches or before school times where students can come in and talk and get through lessons or get through homework, giving them opportunities to get the work done, not excusing it. The area of professional growth is gaining a better understanding of referral identification and assessment issues surrounding racially and culturally diverse students. So I talked about this a little bit in the course objectives that I had met, and I really plan to go further with this. In October, I'm presenting at a conference around this, about this topic. And so I just am working towards getting a better understanding and more knowledge and being able to use what I have learned and what I know to help others understand the issue, figure out ways to begin changing the problem, and helping other schools and other districts move forward. And last but not least is networking and collaboration plans for my multicultural gifted education. So the first thing locally that I'm going to do is talk to our district's multicultural education liaison, and I'm going to talk to her about possibly providing some type of professional developments or trainings for teachers that give them opportunities to learn about multicultural gifted education, to understand referral processes, identification. We can talk about different assessments that our gifted education programs use. We do not use portfolios or performance-based or anything like that yet. So beginning to talk to her and help her understand where the issues are coming from and how we can move towards correcting them, I think will be a great step in helping our district offer these non-traditional assessments for our students. And I am also working with the Florida Association of the Gifted, and I'm presenting at their annual conference this year in October. And so I hope through that I'm able to make some more connections and begin being an integral part in the association and working towards providing better representation of our diverse students in our schools and districts in our state. We have a really, really diverse group of students in Florida, and so this is this is a problem for us, and it's something that we can work towards correcting. And I think the Florida Association of the Gifted is